Ladies and gentlemen, we've all been there. Hurt, disappointed, or blindsided by someone we trusted, especially by someone we gave our hearts to. Today, I want to talk about what happens after that pain. When a man hurts you, your natural response might be to cry, confront, or even break down. But let me tell you something powerful. Confuse him instead. Confuse him with your peace. Confuse him with your silence. Confuse him with your glow-up. When a man expects you to chase him after betrayal, pull back. When he expects you to beg, stand tall. When he expects tears, give him a smile so radiant, it makes him question his decisions. You see, revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is success, peace, and self-love. Show him that his actions didn't break you. They built a stronger, wiser version of you. Confuse him by focusing on yourself. Heal in silence. Level up in private. Make him wonder how he lost something so rare. Don't text paragraphs. Don't seek closure. You are the closure. The truth is, people expect their actions to control you. But when you respond with grace instead of chaos, with boundaries instead of bitterness, you take back your power. So when a man hurts you, confuse him. Confuse him by refusing to lose yourself. Confuse him by becoming untouchable, unbothered, and unforgettable. When someone you care about hurts you, especially a man you trusted, the immediate reaction is usually emotional. You feel a wave of betrayal, confusion, sadness, or even rage. And while those emotions are completely valid, it's how you choose to respond that defines your strength, not how deeply you feel the pain. Reacting emotionally might give you a temporary release. It might feel good to scream, cry, send long texts explaining how he made you feel, or post something indirect on social media hoping he'll see it. But what happens after? Often you're left feeling exposed, drained, and maybe even regretful for letting him see how deeply he got to you. You see, emotional reactions give the other person power. They reveal your vulnerability in a raw and unguarded way, and if someone has already hurt you, there's a chance they'll misuse that vulnerability. And you deserve better than that. That's why one of the most powerful things you can do is pause, breathe, feel everything, but don't act out of it. There's wisdom in the pause. There's strength in not reacting on impulse. When he expects anger, give him silence. When he expects drama, give him calm. That contrast, that's what confuses him. That's what makes him question everything. This doesn't mean you're pretending you're not hurt. It means you're protecting your peace. You're choosing not to hand over your dignity for the sake of a temporary emotional outburst. You're choosing maturity over messiness, power over pettiness. And while he may expect you to chase him, to explain yourself, to beg for clarity, what will truly disturb him, what will truly shake him, is your unshakable stillness, your refusal to play into the emotional chaos he may have created. You're not cold. You're controlled. You're not detached. You're discerning. And in a world where people expect pain to turn into noise, your silence becomes your most powerful message. After someone has hurt you, especially in love, your first instinct might be to understand why. You want answers. You want closure. You want explanations that make the pain make sense. And in that search, you may find yourself chasing conversations, overanalyzing every word, sending messages that go unanswered, or trying to force accountability from someone who's not willing to give it. But here's the truth. Peace is not found in explanations. It's not found in begging for clarity, or trying to convince someone to see your worth. Peace is something you choose. You protect it like it's sacred, because it is. When a man hurts you, it is tempting to step into chaos. His chaos, the chaos of the situation, or even the storm inside your own mind. But if you allow that chaos to consume you, you lose the most important thing you have, your center. Choosing peace means you stop making his behavior your responsibility. It means accepting that people hurt others for reasons that often have nothing to do with us. It means letting go of the need to fix what you didn't break. And that, my love, takes incredible strength. Peace looks like blocking the number instead of checking your phone every 5 minutes. Peace looks like unfollowing him so your healing isn't disrupted by digital shadows. Peace looks like putting your phone down and picking your boundaries up. It looks like doing the work, journaling, meditating, crying it out if you need to, but doing it privately, intentionally, and with the goal of moving forward, not staying stuck. Because when you choose peace, you're choosing yourself. You're saying, I won't stay in spaces where I'm not respected. I won't drain myself trying to make sense of nonsense. I will not let someone else's lack of maturity or integrity steal my joy. There is power in knowing that not every battle needs to be fought, that not every insult needs a clapback, that not every heartbreak needs to be dissected. Sometimes the most revolutionary thing you can do is walk away and not look back. Protecting your peace is not weakness, it's wisdom, it's emotional intelligence. It's knowing that your energy is precious and not everyone deserves access to it, especially not someone who chose to hurt you. So when he expects a storm, give him calm. When he expects chaos, give him stillness. When he expects a version of you that crumbles, show him one that glows quietly, gracefully, untouchable in your own peace. Heartbreak has a way of making you feel small, like a part of you has been dimmed or broken. It can shake your confidence, cloud your self-worth, and make you question everything about yourself. But there's something beautiful, almost poetic, about turning that pain into power, and that's where the glow-up comes in. Now let's be clear, a glow-up isn't just about looking good on the outside. That's part of it, yes. But it's deeper than that. It's about evolving in every area of your life. It's about standing in the mirror and seeing a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and more radiant. Not in spite of the pain, but because of it. When a man hurts you, don't just sit in the wreckage of what he did. Rebuild. And don't just rebuild what was, build something better. Start by pouring into yourself. Go to the gym, not for revenge, but to feel powerful in your own skin. Change your hair, update your style, or invest in skincare, not because you need to prove anything to him, but because you deserve to feel beautiful and refreshed. Then take it deeper, feed your mind, read the books you've been putting off, enroll in the class, start the business, reconnect with hobbies you forgot about while you were caught up in someone who didn't see your value. Pour into your passions, create, evolve, elevate. Emotional growth is just as important. Start therapy or have those real conversations with yourself that maybe you've been avoiding. Ask, what patterns am I repeating? What wounds do I need to heal? What lessons can I carry with me? When you take accountability for your own healing, without blaming, without clinging, you grow into a version of yourself that no one can ever shake again. And let's not forget the mental glow-up, the way you speak to yourself, the way you carry yourself, the energy you allow into your space. That inner confidence is magnetic. It's the kind of transformation that turns heads without even trying. Not because you're loud about it, but because people can feel it. You've leveled up. The best part, the glow-up isn't about him. It's not about revenge or making him regret what he lost. That's just a bonus. The real win is becoming a version of yourself you never knew you could be. One who stands taller, smiles brighter, and radiates self-worth from the inside out. Pain is heavy, but if you let it, it can also be the weight that builds muscle, emotional muscle, mental muscle, spiritual muscle. Use that hurt as the push. Let it be your catalyst, and then rise, quietly, powerfully, unapologetically. Closure. It's one of those words we hold on to when someone leaves us without explanation, without decency, or with 1,000 loose ends that never got tied. It's that thing we convince ourselves we need to move on. We wait for that one last conversation, that apology, that moment where they finally understand what they did, or better yet, admit it. But here's the hard truth. If you keep waiting for someone who hurt you to give you closure, you're putting your healing in their hands. You're standing at a door they closed, knocking and hoping they open it again, not to stay, but just to give you peace. And often they won't. Or worse, if they do, it won't come with clarity. It'll come with more confusion, mixed signals, false hope, and temporary words meant to ease their guilt, not your pain. Because closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself. It comes when you stop needing their explanation and start understanding your own worth. It comes when you realize that someone's inability to love you right isn't a reflection of your value, but a limitation of theirs. It's realizing that their silence is in itself an answer. Their actions were the closure. You just have to stop rewriting the story in your mind, hoping the ending will change. Closure happens when you stop replaying the past and start reclaiming your future. When you take your power back by no longer needing validation, answers, or apologies from someone who couldn't see your worth when it mattered. Yes, it's hard. You'll feel the pull. You'll draft the message. You'll consider reaching out just one more time. But every time you go back looking for closure from someone who didn't respect your heart, you reopen a wound you were meant to heal. Every time you ask them why, you give them permission to play with your peace. And the longer you wait for them to fix what they broke, the more time you steal from your own healing. You don't need them to tell you it's over. You don't need their permission to let go. You don't need their side of the story to close the chapter. You get to say, this is where it ends. You get to say, I deserve better, and I don't need to understand why you didn't give it to me to walk away. True closure is when you accept the apology you never got, let go of the answers you'll never receive, and decide to move forward anyway, not because it didn't hurt, but because you refuse to stay stuck in pain that no longer serves you. The moment you stop chasing closure is the moment you start reclaiming yourself. When someone hurts you, especially someone you trusted with your heart, it can create a spiral of self-doubt. You start questioning yourself. Was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? Could I have loved him better? That pain, that craving for answers, that ache for reassurance, it can drive even the strongest person into a place of desperation. And in that vulnerable space, it becomes easy to beg for what should have been freely given: love, attention, respect, honesty. It becomes tempting to chase, to plead, to try to prove your worth to someone who never should have made you question it in the first place. But here's the truth. You do not need to convince anyone to treat you right. You do not need to break yourself into smaller pieces just to fit into someone else's comfort zone. The moment you start showing desperation, you give them the upper hand. And when someone knows they have that kind of control over you, the dynamics shift. You become the one reaching, the one explaining, the one clinging to something that's already falling apart, while they remain detached, unbothered, and in control. Strength in this moment is not about pretending you're okay. It's about honoring your pain without letting it make you act out of character. It's about knowing you deserved better and deciding that you're not going to stay where you're not valued, no matter how much you love them. Showing strength means pulling back when it hurts to do so. It means sitting in silence when every bone in your body wants to scream, "Why did you do this to me?" It means choosing your self-respect over momentary attention. It means not reacting to the bait, not entertaining breadcrumbs, and not giving someone the satisfaction of watching you unravel over their mistreatment. Desperation whispers, "Please come back." Strength says, "I'll be fine without you." Desperation lowers your standards to meet their inconsistencies. Strength raises your standards so high they can't reach you unless they level up too. Desperation is rooted in fear, the fear of being alone, of being unwanted, of being forgotten. But strength is rooted in truth. The truth that your worth is not tied to anyone's inability to see it. The truth that real love doesn't require convincing. The truth that losing someone who doesn't value you is not a loss, it's a redirection. You don't prove your power through shouting, chasing, or constant reminders of what you brought to the table. You prove it through stillness, boundaries, and the quiet confidence of knowing exactly who you are, even when they couldn't recognize it. So when he walks away, when he plays games, when he shows you he's not ready or willing to treat you right, don't show desperation. Show strength. Show that you would rather be alone in peace than attached to someone who brings you pain. Because your dignity, your energy, and your self-worth are not up for negotiation. When someone hurts you, it can feel like your world stops. Your mind loops around the same thoughts, replaying what happened, what was said, what wasn't said, and what should have been different. But staying stuck in that loop only prolongs your pain. The most effective way to shift that energy: pour it into yourself. Use that emotional fire as fuel to ignite the best version of you. Self-improvement after heartbreak isn't just a distraction, it's a declaration. It's you saying, I may be hurting, but I'm not staying here. I will rise, I will evolve, and I will rebuild. And it starts small, with intentional, consistent steps. Maybe you start waking up earlier, reading more, drinking more water, or finally enrolling in that course you've been putting off. Maybe you start therapy or journaling. Maybe you go to the gym, not out of revenge, but because you want to feel strong, energized, and alive again. This process isn't about pretending the pain didn't happen. It's about allowing that pain to push you into alignment with your purpose. Because sometimes the deepest hurt becomes the biggest wake-up call, a signal that it's time to shift, grow, and rediscover who you are outside of the relationship. Focus on building skills, on reclaiming your time, on setting and achieving personal goals. Create a vision for your life that excites you, challenges you, and reminds you that your story doesn't end with someone leaving, it evolves. The more you pour into your growth, the less space there is for bitterness, regret, and replaying the past. And don't just improve externally, go inward. Ask the hard questions. What are your patterns? Where do you self-abandon? What lessons can you carry forward so that the next version of love you experience is one where you don't shrink, compromise, or tolerate less than you deserve? That's self-improvement too, becoming emotionally self-aware, setting healthy boundaries, learning how to communicate your needs without fear, and identifying red flags before you fall too deep. When you focus on self-improvement, you shift the narrative from "he hurt me" to "this experience changed me, and I used it to grow." You stop being the victim of the story and start becoming the author of a brand new chapter. And the beauty of this journey, you're not improving for anyone else, you're not becoming better so he sees what he lost. You're becoming better so you see what you almost forgot about yourself, your power, your potential, your value that never depended on someone else's ability to love you right. This is the moment where you become your own priority, not in a selfish way, but in a necessary one. You turn the pain into progress, the loss into lessons, the chaos into clarity. Because while heartbreak might feel like the end, self-improvement is the beginning of something extraordinary, your comeback. There's something incredibly powerful about removing access, not out of spite, not out of pettiness, but out of self-respect. When someone hurts you and expects you to still be available, to answer their texts, to pick up when they call, to show up when it's convenient for them, they are relying on the version of you that didn't yet understand your value. But the moment you recognize that someone treated you like an option, that they misused your time, your love, and your emotional energy, you have every right and every reason to become unavailable. Unavailable doesn't just mean blocking or ignoring them, though sometimes that's necessary. It means pulling your energy back. It means refusing to be emotionally accessible to someone who proved they didn't deserve your softness. It's a mindset, a standard, a boundary that says, I will no longer participate in my own mistreatment. When you're always available, even after someone disrespects you, you send a message that your heart is open to being used again, that they can hurt you and still have access to the best parts of you, your attention, your empathy, your loyalty. And people will take advantage of that if you let them. But when you become unavailable, it creates a shift. It sends a different message entirely. You don't get to hurt me and still enjoy the light I bring. Be unavailable for one-sided conversations. Be unavailable for mixed signals and confusion. Be unavailable for people who want your presence but can't match your effort. Be unavailable for emotional crumbs when you were serving full-course love. And the best part, you don't have to announce your unavailability. You don't need a dramatic exit or a long paragraph. Your silence, your absence, your focus elsewhere, that speaks louder than anything you could say. It says, I have nothing left to prove. I gave you the chance to value me, and now I'm valuing myself. Make yourself unavailable to situations that drain you. Unavailable to patterns that pull you back into pain. Unavailable to conversations that lead nowhere but back to disappointment. Unavailable to the version of you that tolerated less than what you now know you deserve. And here's the truth. The moment you become unavailable to the wrong one, you become visible to the right one, not just in love, but in friendships, opportunities, and your own inner peace. Because being unavailable to chaos creates space for clarity. Being unavailable to disrespect opens room for self-worth. Let him wonder where you went. Let him feel your absence. Because if he didn't appreciate your presence, then your absence will teach him a lesson you don't even need to explain. You're no longer on standby for someone who couldn't show up for you fully. You've outgrown being easily accessible to confusion. You've graduated into becoming a version of yourself who protects her time, her heart, and her peace. And that version doesn't wait around for someone who didn't show up the first time. There is something undeniable about the kind of transformation that doesn't announce itself but demands to be noticed. After you've been hurt, especially by someone who underestimated you, one of the most confusing yet powerful things you can do is not respond with words, arguments, or revenge, but with undeniable growth. People expect a reaction. They expect chaos. They expect you to lash out, break down, or beg. Especially when they know they've wounded you deeply, they look to see how much control they still have. But when you choose to rise in silence, when you shift your energy inward and start evolving quietly, that's when the confusion sets in for them. That's when they begin to realize that they don't have access to you anymore, not even emotionally. Let your glow speak for itself. Let the new opportunities you attract be the proof. Let your peace, your glow, your consistency, and your boundaries scream louder than any confrontation ever could. This kind of response is not performative. It's not for them, it's for you. It's the decision to break cycles, to elevate beyond the version of yourself who tolerated confusion, disrespect, or crumbs disguised as love. It's looking in the mirror and seeing someone who is wiser, not just hurt and healing, but healed and evolving. Let your growth show up in the way you protect your energy now, in how you don't settle for less just because it's familiar, in how you no longer chase potential but choose peace. Let your growth show in how you walk away with grace instead of dragging things out for closure or revenge. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to make them see your worth. They had their chance. Now you focus on becoming so in tune with who you are that you no longer react from wounds but from wisdom. Start doing the things you put on pause when you were loving someone who didn't see you clearly. Reignite your goals. Dive into your passions. Make progress in silence and let your wins whisper the truth they once ignored. You were never the problem. They just couldn't see the value you carried. You evolved not to prove them wrong, but to prove to yourself that you were always worthy of better. You're not trying to outshine anyone else. You're just no longer dimming your light for anyone who couldn't handle it. So no, you don't need to send the long text. You don't need to post the quote. You don't need to defend what they did or didn't do. Your elevation, your glow up, your peace, your joy, that's the only response you'll ever need. Let your healing show in your posture. Let your success speak in your presence. Let your strength live in your silence. Because nothing confuses someone more than seeing the person they once thought they broke becoming completely untouchable. In the end, the most powerful response to someone who has hurt you is the one that reflects your growth. The way you heal, the way you rise, and the way you evolve silently, without needing validation from the one who hurt you, is the true testament to your strength. Remember, you are not defined by the pain they caused. You are defined by how you rise from it. You are defined by the choices you make after the hurt, the way you prioritize your peace, the love you give yourself, and the way you reclaim your energy. You are not their past mistakes or their inability to love you correctly. You are your own force of nature, and no one can take that from you. So let them watch from the sidelines as you become everything you were always meant to be. Let your growth be the loudest response. Let your glow speak for itself. And always remember, the best revenge is not in anger or bitterness, but in becoming the most powerful version of yourself. Walk forward with your head held high, and let the world see who you've become. Because the only thing that confuses them more than your silence is your strength.